Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. We have a lot to talk about today. We have 3 case updates, 3 big cases that we've been covering. So, let's see, where do I have the music playing? Welcome to 1111 True Crime. Mama D in the house with you. I hope you are all well. Sending a lot of love to those of you that need healing, including Rach, Not That Rach, and our friend OD. And good to see you all. So we're going to start off with talking about the 3 cases that we're going to cover. We're going to cover the Emmanuel Haro case. Yes, the dad, Jake Haro, has, here comes the truth train, pled guilty to second-degree red rum. In other words, he did it. Rebecca, on the other hand, she's still pleading not guilty. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know where that's going. We're going to talk about Samuel Bird and his body, the 14-year-old Samuel Bird. His body was found in... Whoa, there is so much to go over on that. And then we're going to be talking about Sandra Birchmore case. There's more information available on that. So let's start off with a little catch up here. Let's switch over and see what we have here. This is on Jake Haro.
We're outside the Haro family home, and you can see right behind me there's a small memorial for baby Emmanuel. Today, his father admitted to killing him.
Hold on, you guys. I'm going to try to adjust the volume.
I was shocked. Not only was Jake crying, Rebecca was crying, but as I looked around the courtroom, there was tears everywhere.
Riverside County resident Don Cato says it was a surprise to everyone in the courtroom when Jake Mitchell Haro suddenly pleaded guilty to murdering his baby boy Emmanuel.
As he was crying, he said, "I want to plead guilty." And I was sitting on the side behind Rebecca, and she was shocked as well. She's rocking back and forth, and she was like, "My baby, my baby."
People from all over Southern California came out to help search for the 7-month-old baby last August after his parents went on the news pleading for his safe return.
You guys, do you remember when the grandmother came out and she was like, that couple, they want to hurt that baby? I wonder what she's thinking right now. Or Jake's sister, who was like, I loved him no matter what, whatever. Okay, Jake is now saying, Jake from State Farm, what are you wearing? Admits not only that he ended the life of this child, but that it had been ongoing from the time that child was born healthy, and all of our worst fears all came true, that this baby suffered. It's horrible to think that all of our theories basically were all focused on this idea that baby Emmanuel looked horrified in his baby pictures. We've all looked at the picture with Emmanuel laying on the blanket in the grass and the flip-flop of what is probably Rebecca, and asked that question, is that baby already passed at that moment? Yet we still don't know where the baby is. How is that possible? How can they not somehow be more stringent on getting him, the father, to commit to the location that the child went missing? I mean, all the authorities are saying at this point is that they know the location, but yet we're not getting any. I'm just right, Jennifer. And Jake is not saying where to find Emmanuel. Correct. Hi, Allison Lovely. Happy birthday. Where's Debbie? I gotta do it, you guys. I'm not a great singer, but join me in singing happy birthday to one of our beautiful mods, Debbie Gazzardo. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Debbie. Happy birthday to you. We love you, Debbie. Thank you, lovely. Happy birthday to you. Ash Pixa says, I can't believe he actually confessed. And like had the little tears in the red nose. At least this time we could see some tears. Not that it matters because, you know, I'm just saying I'm sure Emmanuel had tears too. So I have no sympathy for the devil. Joyful, please don't put things like that. Don't put that the dog killed the baby. We know it's not true. We know who killed the baby. He admitted to it. Oh, you had a typo? The dad, yes. The dad killed the baby. I was like, what? Don't do that. I love you. You have some of the strangest typos. Yeah, Rebecca made up the story. She was changing the baby, right? And then in the car. So she's standing outside the car and then, hola. Or no, I got the cart before the horse. It was, hola. Right? And she hit the ground and we were all like, no. No. This one didn't even fly under the radar of anybody. We were all on this case screaming at the top of our lungs that these couples are lying, that they did this. And then we found out that Jake had already done horrific things to his previous child, who will always be in a wheelchair with full-time care. She can't even swallow on her own or breathe on her own. It's just, it's horrific. Where's the remains? Jennyville is asking. I told y'all. I've said it all along. I know y'all are like, there's a few of you that are like, that's possible. This family, Jake and Rebecca, allegedly bought lie. We've looked it up. What is a water cremation? We are talking about a very small baby. Just saying, it would leave nothing but sparse bones. It's just so unbelievable what they've done to this child, and all of us hurt for Emmanuel. All of us feel like this is a monster. They're monsters, y'all. They went into the baby nursery, the investigators. This was in the news. And in the diaper pill, there were diapers with BLOOD filling them. And now we have the answer why this baby wasn't taken in public, but rather left in the car on all the accounts we heard about. Because they were abusing this child from the get-go. And it was over time that his body couldn't take it. Yeah, you want to hear him say that and then lock his ass up, throw away the key, gone, right? I want that too. I want that too. Joyful Hun, I can't read anything you write. I don't even know what that means. You're reading on the dab because the dog killed his baby? I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry, sweetie. Hey, Nikki UK. Hi, Calissa. Good to see you both. So that's what we have there. Let's get back over and finish what they're saying about this. But don't forget that these people stood in front of a camera and begged you to help find their baby that they had been abusing from birth.
I'm begging you, please. Bring my son back to me.
Haro entered the guilty plea on Thursday during a felony settlement conference at the Hall of Justice in Riverside. He admitted to murder, child endangerment, and filing a false police report.
It's highly unusual for a suspect in a murder case to plead guilty without testing the evidence in the case, and so quickly after being charged.
Criminal law attorney Dmitry Gorin, who is not involved in this case, believes Haro may have incriminated himself during a police interrogation and decided to plead guilty to avoid the risk of a longer prison sentence.
If I was his lawyer and I...
Wait, hold on. Y'all, what does that mean, a longer... You've ended a natural life for your daughter and you've ended the life for your son. There should never be an end to your prison sentence. It should never end. There should be no off on good behavior. I don't care. I don't give a damn about what you, how, what, no. What? How could he get a lighter sentence by anything, any means? Nothing. That's right, Carla. Prison for life, prison for life, prison for life. That's right, Ash. Good question, Jenny. How many children does he get to harm? What, you let somebody else, you let him out at a later date so that he could harm another child? No, this isn't right. This isn't how it should work. This is not right, y'all. I am so against even listening to this idea that he should get any cookies, or biscuits for being a good boy. No.
The client accepting a guilty plea so early on, and if he also helped the investigation.
Help the investigation with what? By sitting in his house with his little wife and waiting for the entire world to basically bust it all wide open until the world solved this case. Jake didn't solve it. He just admitted to the guilt of what we already know. Jake hasn't helped nobody. And how do we know? Because we ain't got no baby. In the words of Dolly Vision, I just hit my lamp. Where's the baby? Where in the world is the baby? So until we know where the baby is, Jake ain't no help at all. Jake has been nothing but a monster, a wicked, horrendous monster. And for anybody, I don't care if you're a lawyer, a defense lawyer, a prosecutor, I don't care. Shut up about how Jake is helping. No. I'm like hot on that, because this baby would be alive right now and well if Jake had not been abusive.
I would ask for the minimal possible sentence and try to reduce.
Oh my God. The minimal possible sentence. And then to have it reduced because Jake is working with him. I could vomit in my mouth. Yeah, even one baby is too many. I agree, Nikki UK. He should never see the light of day. He should be made the poster child of what bad things happen to bad people, right? But instead, it's bad people doing bad things to innocent and vulnerable people. It's backwards. It's really, really backwards. I know, Ash. It has me like, oh my golly. Like, I know most of you already had heard the news. But I was like, ugh, I'm going to bite my finger off. This is just Jake belongs in prison the rest of his life, his miserable life. Right, Debbie. Right. Girl loves embroidery and crime show. No. Nick UK both need to be locked up and throw away the key. Is she psycho? Is she like some schizophrenic, pathological sociopath? How do you get caught up in this scheme to where not only does the man that's the father of your children harm them but take them out completely, but then you're going to go along with it and you're going to play a role to try to blame somebody that speaks Spanish? And then you're going to sit in court rocking, oh my baby, who put the dirty bloody diapers in the pail, lady? Oh, it makes me... Okay, so let me tell you why I did my little lip curl. I have two Jack Russells. They're brothers, right? And the one will get jealous of the other when I'm petting them. I'll be giving Lucky a lot of love, and I'll look over. And Jack, He does that because he can hardly stomach it. And that's what I feel in this case is like, you know, like I'm biting mad. That sounds crazy. But I'm just saying, minimum possible sentence is he is actually joking what the actual F. She's just as guilty as him, right, Ash? I agree. It's just wild. Let's just keep trying to listen to this dude.
What he's facing based on his cooperation in the case.
Rebecca Haro continues to maintain her innocence. She has not changed her plea and still faces charges of murder and filing a false police report.
Blah,
The
blah,
ultimate
blah.
closure, as you see here, would be to actually bring baby Emmanuel home to give him
Amen.
a proper resting.
And that's what many in the community are hoping for, praying for, that they'll be able to find the baby's remains. So far, that is still an investigation that's ongoing. Now, Rebecca's preliminary hearing has been scheduled for November 3rd, and that is the same day that Jake Haro will be sentenced. We reached out
November
to the
3rd.
prosecution, but they chose not to comment on this case. Marla?
That's their prerogative. All right, Gina, thanks so much.
November 3rd. Both parents are disgusting. I'm disgusted. This whole idea that he may get out of prison early because he's a good boy. Oh my God. What do we need to do in that state? Remember, this child was an infant. This is just wild. All right, you guys, so we're going to switch over now. That's all I can say right now. I'm just too, I don't know what to call it. Silent rage. Like, just this rage for Jake and for Rebecca for what they've done to little baby Emmanuel. It's just flooring. So, we got it right, calm kitty. We got to pressure from the meat. We got to keep the pressure on. We have to keep the pressure on. All right. Trying to stay calm here. Now we're going to talk about Samuel Bird. So Samuel Bird was a 14-year-old that had went missing. And he went missing out of the Edmonton area. He was 14 years old, and he disappeared after going with a friend out for the evening at 14, out for the evening. And now the truth has all come out. We have somebody charged, and that is that Samuel was dating this girl, let me get the name right, Marley Farrell, and she cheated on him, and so they broke up. I will just say that there was a lot of bad criminals surrounding Marley, including her dad. Her dad is the one that has been charged with murder of Samuel, and Samuel's body has been found. So he did this out of retaliation for his daughter, who was 14. Now, Samuel, there had been some information that came out that Samuel and 19 others had broke into the Farrell home, and I'm not sure who or what the whole story is, but somebody needed facial reconstruction afterwards, allegedly. So then what they did is they lured Samuel over to the Farrell residence, saying it was a party. Then the child went missing at 14. The mother started receiving brutal videos of this beating that was taking place on someone that she thought could be her son Samuel, which is highly likely now that we understand it all. to intimidate her because she was online trying to find her son. Meanwhile, this little Marla girlfriend who's like 13 or 14, there's a audio clip of her talking about this case about Samuel. She doesn't care who get charged. Take her in. She don't care. Okay. Now, they drove 160 miles or kilometers away and dumped Samuel's body. Then the body was, then Brian, the father, is arrested, but not before he bear sprays 3 undercover cops and also got a baseball bat after somebody that was staking out the house. He gets arrested. The following day, they get a tip, they go look around, and they find Samuel's body. So, it's exactly what my reading said. Over on Crime Story Mama, every single bit of this story over 2 weeks ago was in the cards on one reading, and it was detailed. It told us who, that it was the girl's dad. It told us everything about the whole crime. I was ranting and raving. How can they not go at least get a search warrant on the house? By the way, Brian allegedly, we'll leave it that way, but it's pretty strong evidence, torched the house, his own home, and claimed a $50,000 insurance claim, so he's in trouble for that. They've also got him for arson because they feel that he was like getting rid of all the evidence of where Samuel Bird, the 14-year-old, had been beaten to death. I have no words. What are you guys feeling? Yeah, Nikki was there for that reading. She says, amazing reading. That's one thing. My reads prove in time to be right. So I'm going to be doing a Jack and Lily reading in a little bit after this. Jump over there with us. If all my other readings, such as the Samuel Bird and all these other cases, are that exact, isn't it very concerning with what cards I'm pulling on Lily and Jack Sullivan? Because that tells a story about the Martells alleging, right? This guy should never see the light of day either. He's attacking undercover officers with bear spray. He's killing a child in his own home, driving 168 kilometers away. Are you flipping kidding me? It's mind-boggling. Listen to this, you guys.
The remains of a 14-year-old who's been missing since the beginning of summer have been found. On social media, Samuel Bird's mother, Alana, writes, I want to thank every single person who donated in helps of finding my boy. Without all the help, we couldn't have kept this search going. I want to say thank you to those who kept me sane since June 1st, 2025. A big thank you to every person who shared his missing poster. Thank you to everyone who showed up to our rallies for Samuel Bird. Samuel Bird has been missing since June 1st. He was last seen leaving a friend's house in Edmonton's West End. Since then, volunteer groups have combed that area and others in Alberta's capital city. In October, City Police announced Bird's case was being investigated as a homicide and that they were searching an area west of Edmonton. Then last week, new information narrowed the search to a much smaller area about 160 kilometers west of the city, an area of bush and farmland.
Yeah, Jennifer is saying, wasn't Samuel Indigenous? Let me get chat on the board. Wasn't Samuel Indigenous? Yeah. In Edmonton. Yes, in Canada. Absolutely. And you know, there are other Indigenous missing in the area. You have to wonder about this Brian Farrell because of his criminal history is disturbing. He has no qualms about beating with a baton, is the video. And it turns out he does own an illegal baton that has been used for violence. And that's going to be all over in this case. AMC 52. Aw, thank you for leaving your DNA so you don't go missing. I thank you. I thank you. Viv says, okay, probably haven't heard the Lost Prophets and their ex-lead singer, Google, met with a prison. Okay. I have no idea what you're saying, but thank you, lovely. Hey, Tony for Freedom. Good to see you. Yeah. This is in
Police
Canada.
say they believed someone took Bird's body from the Edmonton area, drove the main highway west out of the city, then took an offshoot road and dumped Bird's body not far from road or trail access. Police arrested and charged 38-year-old Brian Farrell on Wednesday. On Thursday, investigators were able to find Samuel Bird's remains. Farrell is charged with second-degree murder and interfering with the body in relation to Bird's death. He's also facing 13 other charges. Court documents show Farrell is charged with committing arson on one of the properties police searched in relation to this homicide investigation. Farrell's also charged with uttering threats related to Bird's mother. Police say they are not looking for any more suspects in this case, but still...
He actually threatened Samuel's mother during her search and avocation for her missing child. He literally threatened her. So when is it that we just have a key and we lock him in and then this key doesn't exist anymore? There's no way out. It's a one-way in, you ain't coming back out kind of thing. When a child loses their life due to an intentional harming, that should be no more light of day for you, whoever they are, mother, father, whoever. He is a very, very bad man. He reminds me, he's worse than Adam Montgomery. By the way, Adam Montgomery, Harmony Montgomery's dad, is all in court standing up like some sort of a fake citizen that has rights, saying he needs a new trial because they used old information from other crimes that he did in his trial on Harmony. I mean, he never hurt Harmony. He would never hurt her. He couldn't be bothered to come to court. He came to court one time that I know of, and that was for the jury selection, and then for the reading of the victim's statements. That was it. The rest of the time, he wasn't in court very much, and so he got found guilty of what? Taking out his daughter in a car in the worst way possible, and all she did was pee her little pants because she was in a car, living in a car. These people, these are not parents. These are scums of the earth. These are wicked, wicked demons. No, he didn't get it. Jake did not get a plea deal that I'm aware of. Even though in the Emmanuel Haro case, his dad, Jake, see, I can't even say dad without feeling creeped out. His sperm donor, Jake, as far as I know, he didn't get a plea deal. Was he denied an appeal, Jennifer? Thank God. Thank God in heaven above. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, that trial like they killed me. That trial like they killed me. So with Samuel Bird, back to his case with this Brian Farrell, who allegedly did all this to Samuel and killed him because his 13-year-old girlfriend and Samuel broke up. Why is your 13-year-old dating? I'm not okay with all that. Well, Peter, some people do live in their car. I had to live in my car it wasn't my car, it was my mother. Got evicted. We had nowhere to go. So at 12 or 13, I was put in a car. And that's where we lived. So, I mean, I can't say that, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, scum of the earth. Totally. Okay, now we gotta talk. We gotta talk. I'm gonna be talking about this case. I want you to listen to me. There was a police program for children to enter that had, things in their life that were going on, such as not having a dad and so forth, underprivileged. And these children were given the opportunity to get into a program where they could aspire to be a police officer. And it's called the Explorer Program, and it's run by the local police departments in the area. And this case comes out of Massachusetts, I believe, is Sandra Birchmore. And the Karen Reed case was happening at the same time that this was brewing in the background. But Karen Reed was a much bigger case. However, this gets all convoluted, but you've just got to listen. So she entered this program, Sandra Birchmore, at 13 years old. She was groomed, provenly groomed, by the police officers, not one, not two, but 3 of the police officers. So it makes you wonder how many other children were treated this way. By the time she was 15, she was having intimate relationships with one man named Matthew Farrell, who was an officer of the law and teaching the course. She was passed around to his twin brother and Robert Devine. And so years go by and she finally becomes an adult. And at 23, she's still having intimate relationships with these men. She gets pregnant. And in that, she is delighted she's pregnant. She's already 3 months pregnant, getting baby items and telling everybody. She isn't keeping nothing a secret. Sandra's telling the whole world, and she's even saying that Matthew Farrell, the police officer who's married, has children, is the father. So first, you're going to find out that he asked for her key. He was still having ongoing sexual relations with her. He asked for a key for her apartment for the first time 2 weeks before her murder. Then Sandra Birchmore tells her friends that he came over to her apartment and was looking in her closets and checking out the doorknobs. She couldn't figure it out. She thought it was strange. He also got violent. And even though she was pregnant, this police officer put her in a headlock and told her, "I wish you were dead." A week later, he enters her apartment on camera and exits, and he was the last person to exit that place alive. Sandra was found passed away. At first, and it's still on the death certificate, it was treated by the ME, the medical examiner, as a suicide. But it wasn't very long, just a year or so later, that new evidence surfaced, and other professional medical examiners reopened and looked at the files and looked at the autopsy reports, and come to find out they did not believe this was a suicide at all, but rather a homicide. They've got all the texts from years going back and forth between her, Sandra, and Matthew, and Robert Devine, and his brother. So not Robert's brother, but Matthew Farwell's brother. Matthew Farwell has now been charged with this homicide, and in 1 year he will be going to court. It's been announced. It's going to be a hell of a battle because that medical examiner is refusing to change the death certificate to homicide, even though everybody's saying this was homicide. All right, let's jump over and I'll bring you up to speed here. Let's give this a listen to.
The remains of a 14-year-old who's been missing since the beginning of...
Sorry guys, let's try this one. This is all about Sandra Birchmore. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you guys. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, the baby's DNA was tested, and even though William Farrell was having intimate relationships currently with Sandra up until her passing, and even though she told him and everybody that, or is it William or is it Matthew? Matthew, I think. They're twins. Matthew Farrell was the father. Turns out, no, he's not the father of the baby. We don't know who the father of the baby was. I'll let you listen to this, though.
February 4th.
What happened?
February 4th, 2021. Sandra Birchmore was found dead in her Canton, Massachusetts apartment. The charges filed today in federal court allege that she was in fact murdered by Matthew Farwell 3 days earlier. At the time of her death, Sandra Birchmore was a 23-year-old woman with her entire life ahead of her, and she was pregnant with her first child.
Yeah. Yes. So he was, oh my golly, you guys. Not only was he a cop, so was his brother, and so was Robert Devine. They were all police officers, and they were having intimate relationships with this 15-year-old all the way up till she was 23 at the time of her passing. And that wasn't even Matthew Farrell's baby. So whose baby is it? I don't know. But they believed that he killed her to hide his because she had knowledge of his federal crimes and the evidence of. So, yeah, he was a cop. And they've got proof that many, many times he was actually on duty as an officer of the law going over to Sandra's apartment and playing the hanky-panky.
We allege that Sandra Birchmore survived years of grooming, statutory rape, and then sexual violence, all at the hands of Matthew Farwell, who was employed throughout their relationship as an officer and then detective for the Stoughton Police Department. And when it became clear to Mr. Farwell that he could no longer control Sandra Birchmore, he allegedly silenced her permanently. This morning, Matthew Farwell was arrested on a federal grand jury indictment charging him with one count of killing a witness or victim. Specifically, Mr. Farwell is charged with violating Title 18 United States Code 1512 for killing Sandra Birchmore with the intent of preventing her from communicating information about his possible commission of federal crimes. How did this all unfold? What happened here? Well, back in 2010, a 12-year-old Sandra Birchmore applied to join the Stoughton Police Department's Explorers Program, which introduces teens to policing. Officer Matthew Farwell was an instructor in that program. And as alleged in court documents, he befriended Sandra Birchmore, contacted her online, went to the library with her, became friends on Facebook, essentially groomed her. And then he committed statutory rape by having sex with her when he was a 27-year-old police officer and she was just 15 years old.
27 years old, and this child is 15 years old, but 13 when they started grooming her. She's going to this little course to become a police officer because she is in love with this idea. She respects everything about police and doing the right thing and all this, and she idolizes these officers. As a child, she is in love with them. She doesn't even have a father figure, right? There's no dad in the picture. And so she's idolizing these men, and they're like, oh, look at this little vulnerable girl that ain't got no daddy. Let's groom her, and then we can just pass her around as fun. What about all the other kids in the other Explore programs? Or even in that one with these men? It's so unbelievable. But listen how bad this is.
Mr. Farwell continued to have a sexual relationship with Sandra Birchmore until her death 8 years later, allegedly meeting her for sex regularly when he was on duty and being paid by the Stoughton Police Department.
Legitimately on duty and being paid. He was with a child. It's just, yes, Calm Kitty, you're right. This is so disgusting about the cops, the police department. They all need to be investigated. And these other children in that program, you have to wonder. You have to wonder, was, yeah, right, Courtster, the abuse of the power to SA a poor girl. And what else have they done? Talk about bad cops, right? These are the kind of cops, if they're willing to SA a child, and even to the point of, oh, she's now pregnant and an adult, well, I don't need that coming out. We'll just remove her, delete her. You have to wonder about every person that they arrested and testified against. Can you imagine if you were innocent and you're sitting in jail and you're hearing about that same guy that busted you doing this? You feel me? This is bad. This is so bad.
Now, in the weeks leading up to Sandra Birchmore's death in February 2021, she found out that she was expecting a baby. And she told Mr. Farwell that he was the father. According to court documents, Ms. Birchmore was very excited about becoming a mother, buying baby clothes and other items, taking precautions to ensure the health of her new child. Sandra Birchmore had good friends, she had a good job, she had dreams of becoming a nurse, and she had a child on the way. But Mr. Farwell did not share in that excitement. It's alleged that Mr. Farwell reacted quite negatively to the news that Sandra Birchmore was pregnant with his child. And
I have to tell you guys this. When he entered her apartment for the last time and did this horrific, allegedly took her life and the baby's life, he left her apartment. And where do you think he went? Where do you think Matthew Farwell went? You'll never guess in a million years. I'll tell you this much, it wasn't to Dairy Queen. No, it was to the hospital. So after he red rummed Sandra and her unborn child, he has to go to the hospital because his wife is giving birth to his child. You heard me right. So at the very time that he is in her apartment, unaliving her and her unborn child, his wife is in the hospital in labor. Yeah, back to his wife, you're right, seeking justice. It's just, it's almost more than my mind can handle. Yes, Carla, I promise you.
acted angrily, it is alleged, when Sandra Birchmore started making requests of Mr. Farwell around doctor's appointments and ultrasounds and what information would be on the birth certificate. Mr. Farwell was losing control in late 2020, early 2021, and the information that Sandra Birchmore possessed about his illegal conduct was in danger of slipping out.
So, she had information. Now, we're not privy to know what all these federal crimes are. She might have been also keeping a journal or saving text messages and screenshots of all the crimes he was committing. Because bad people do bad things to good people. We know that. This is okay, not only one officer, but his twin brother is an officer as well. And his buddy, Robert Devine, as well. So William and Matthew Farrell, as well as Robert Devine. So there's 3 officers from the same unit. Can you imagine if they're that wicked and there's 3 of them, what they got away with? How many other victims do they have that haven't come forward? Could Sandra be the only one? Only one's been charged with her murder. Only one. Believe that?
In fact, word started to get out about their relationship. Less than 2 weeks before she was found dead, someone called the Stoughton Police Department and disclosed that Matthew Farwell had had a relationship with Sandra Birchmore. And when Mr. Farwell learned about that call, he became visibly angry. Mr. Farwell, it is alleged in these court papers, started to lose his patience, lose his temper, and the 6'4" Mr. Farwell started to be physically violent with 4'10" Sandra Birchmore. And Sandra Birchmore...
Hold on. 6'4", and he's a solid brick of shit. And yeah, I said it the way I wanted to. And she's 4'10", little tiny pregnant girl, tiny, 4'10". I mean, like I'm taller than that, and I'm short as shit. I mean, you gotta hand it short, people. We can't reach it anyway. But you feel me? The size difference. And the ligature went across the neck and back, not up. He hung her by the very doorknob that he was checking out the week before. Right, Peter? The days of our carnival lives. Yeah, solid brick of shit. Yeah, 6'4" to 4'10".
told her friends that Mr. Farwell had pushed her and shoved her and put her in a chokehold. She was scared. And during that same time, Mr. Farwell
put her in a chokehold in her own apartment, pregnant.
Birchmore's murder. For the first time, he requested a key to her apartment. And she told friends that he was oddly inspecting the apartment and looking at the closet, including the closet that she was found dead in front of. And then it all came to a head on February 1st, 2021. Mr. Farwell went over to her apartment that evening, and he strangled Sandra Birchmore to death. That's the allegation in this case. And he used his knowledge and experience as a law enforcement officer to stage her death to look like a suicide. He allegedly attempted to cover his tracks to literally try and get away with murder. And he almost did, until today. Back in 2021, with the information that was available, Sandra Birchmore's death was ruled a suicide, or deemed a suicide. But over the last year or so, the FBI and our office have been working exhaustively with our state partners. We've uncovered critical new information, examined the existing information, all of which led to this federal grand jury indictment. If convicted on this charge, Mr. Farwell faces a minimum of life imprisonment.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I would lose my channel if I said what I really feel right now. Yes, Kelly, it's heartbreaking and disgusting. It's absolutely... So we start off today listening to some jerk on here talk about how, Jake Haro, who took the life of Emmanuel Haro in brutal way over many, many months might, get out of prison at some point because he's helping the situation. Screw that. Okay? No. But I don't think he'll make it out of prison because I think the boys that like the ones that drop the soap are gonna really make it hard on Jake to make sure that he makes it to that date. I could be wrong, but I'm just saying. They don't take too kindly to those kind of folks inside. All right. So now we got the bad boy over here, this Brian Farrell. Isn't feral when somebody's so wild you can't tame them? They're just feral. Isn't that fitting, Brian Farrell? Who took out a 14-year-old little boy named Samuel Bird because he was broke up from the 13-year-old. So since when do parents get so demented and so mentally screwed up that if there's a breakup between kids, you take matters into your own hands, where a 14-year-old is then 160 kilometers away from the location disposed of, and send the videos of what was taken to intimidate the mother who's out there advocating for her child against her own safety while she's receiving threats from this man. And then we get over here, and you would be expecting that because these are the guys in blue, and they're the ones that are there to set the bar and example for all the rest of us, you'd think that they would have taken care of a 13-year-old that didn't have a dad and maybe been kind to her and special to her in a loving way, but not that way. But instead, Sandra Birchmore and her unborn child will never get true justice. All we can do is lock these assholes, these wicked, bad people up and pray to God that they never see the light of day to do this again. I know, Allison, that poor mom of Samuel Bird, the hell she's been through. And she wants us to know she's thankful for the pressure that everybody put on this so that this did get resolved, so that the killer got found, so that Samuel Bird's body was located. And I want to say thank you because we were covering it too. I know. I don't get that, Peter. I don't get that. I can't. As Carla says, I just can't wrap my brain around this crap. God give me serenity. So, remember, parents can get on there and they can be like, I was changing the diaper and I heard Ola from behind and then boop, and when I woke up I had no baby. And it's all a lie. And on that note, keep in mind, there are other cases where we have those controlling the narrative and the truth is unraveling right beneath the rug they're standing on. And that's in the Lily and Jack Sullivan case, in my opinion. I don't believe any of them. I believe they're all in it together. Think about it. Daniel doesn't really throw Malia under the bus fully. He doesn't say what he would have to know because he was there. He just hints around it. Malia, she hasn't even got Meadow anymore. What's holding her back from throwing Daniel under the bus? No. They all want to point fingers at the other one in just a little way, where you can't do anything about it. To me, they were the three adults on site in one location at ground zero when Lily and Jack went missing. And we're now finding out that it was before 8:30 in the morning that these kids went missing. It was 8 a.m. at the latest. What were these people doing for 2 hours? Now we can understand how, oh, you went through the culverts, you went through the ditches, Daniel. Yeah, I bet you did. I bet you did. Looking for a place to deposit things is what I feel. So with that all being said, if you would like to pull some cards over there, I'm not going to do a reading today. I'm just going to simply do one video, one live, where you come in on the Lily and Jack case over on Crime Story Mama, and you simply tell me what your question is, and I'll pull the cards for your answer. All right, you guys, make sure if you're looking for a gift, something unique, if you see something you like, remember, if somebody else buys it first, it's gone in my store. I don't keep numbers of the items like a store. I hand pick things that I feel you will like, and I put one of them there. So if you see something you like, it's all affordable, and $50 or more shipping, free to you. Now, we're going to be giving away a gift in the store over on Crime Story Mama this week. Stay tuned over there. You'll have to jump over to Crime Story Mama to find out exactly how you may be the winner of something very wonderful. All right? Okay, with that being said, let's say a prayer for all of the little children on this planet. May God take our loving, unconditional love of all children on our planet and protect them with our love and with His love and the angels' love, and that these children remain safe and unhurt. And I know that's a big prayer, but it's all I can think of, because it's like if I just pray for this child, that one's not getting prayer. So I'm just praying for all of them. I pray for all of them. In Jesus' name we pray this. Amen. I love you guys. To the moon and back. I will see you over 10 minutes, maybe not even that long. Get yourself a beverage, one of your favorite drinks, maybe chocolate milk, tea, coffee, whatever, and snack and meet me over there on Crime Story Mama. See you in a minute. Bye for now.